Alright guys, does sim racing translate to tracking? We're gonna find out today. Woo! Oh my god.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are here at Circuit of the Americas with my man, Ryan, the instructor extraordinaire, to answer the question, how much does sim racing actually translate to tracking? Now, you guys have seen Ryan in the videos at G2 Motorsports in the sim racing, so I couldn't think of anybody else who's better to give us a little bit of that background. Ryan, what do you think so far? Does sim racing actually translate to tracking?
So I think to a certain extent, yes. I think that it can give you a good orientation of what the car is going to do, the track layout, you know, a rough idea of what's going to happen. I think, you know, at this point, I'd probably put about 50% would translate from the sim to the track.
About 50%. We'll see. We will see. So this is my very first weekend at the track. I'm riding around in the GT4. So I have a couple hundred laps on the sim. I think my fastest time on the sim here is about a 2:21. Mm-hmm. We'll see how close we can get to that, if we can even touch it. But Ryan, as we're getting ready for our first session, what are we getting into first?
So the first thing is get the idea of how the car handles, the dynamics of the car, you know, car control. Obviously, it's a little damp today, so we're really gonna understand what it's gonna be like to drive a car in the wet. And honestly, like the truth of, there's a lot more consequences out here than on the sim, right? So you wreck in the wall, just hit the reset button, you're good. Go back to the pits. Here, you're getting towed back, and you're probably gonna be in the EMS. So those realities, you know, will definitely shape how far you're gonna take it. We're gonna start slow. You know, and we're going to try to work your way up to get your comfort level. And I think you're going to find there is a pretty big difference, but when you reflect on it, I think you're going to realize a lot of it does translate, but you need a lot more context.
All right, we're getting ready for our first session, so let's go ahead and get ready for our first one. We'll see you guys in the car. Are we going to bring the car back?
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, guys. All right, guys, so we are here in my very first session on the track, and as you can see by the windshield, it's not just damp, it's wet out there. The track is glistening. I'm getting sprayed by the car in front of me. It was extremely nerve-wracking, to say the least, so Ryan and I took it really slow. Maybe I took it a little too slow because I got black flagged at the end of the session for kind of creating a change. Sorry, guys, if you were behind me, but admittedly, I was a little nervous, to say the least, about this session. So for this one, we just took it slow, worked on trying to be as smooth as possible on those inputs. Now let's go ahead and jump into one of our very first dry sessions, or drier sessions, of the day.
Keep going, and brake. There you go, that's a good brake. Good brake. Keep going, no, hold it, wait for it, and turn in. You release the brake a little too much in the mid-braking section. Okay. Right, there you go, follow the line. Eventually you're going to be on, just at the where the curbing meets the road. Okay. But not right now. To the left. A little bit of brake to the right. There you go, to the left. Now you go straighten out, straight to the curbing. A little bit of curve, come out to the left a little bit, and then start bringing it back in. There you go.
So we're treating this like the second apex here?
Yes. Okay. There's two apexes there. To the left. All the way to the right. Track out. There you go. Hold it tight to the right. There you go. Hold it. To the left. Track out to the right. There you go. Start arcing to the left, a little bit. There you go, not much. There you go. That corner, you don't have to do very much with the wheel. Okay. There you go, feel the brakes. Wait for it, turn in. All the way to the curb, there you go. Start feeding power, roll on throttle. I guess you're going to have to, this guy's not having a good time, so pass him on the left side, there you go.
And just like that, my first pass of the weekend. Now, granted, that was probably just a freebie. As you can see, we were still going pretty slow around the track. Now, to this point, I'm still pretty nervous. The track is still kind of glistening from the rain and how wet it was. So my nerves were still kind of focused more on that than actually driving. But the great news was that as the day progressed, the sun started coming out, the track got drier, and I became way more confident. Little by little, we were carrying much more speed. I was being a lot braver into the corners, being on throttle, being on full throttle way more often, and trying to get a feel for the brakes. Now, I was telling Brian this during one of my sessions that I kept getting feedback in the brake pedal. It felt like the brake pedal was just pushing back on my foot the harder or the deeper I tried to get into the brakes. Now, after we got back from one of our sessions, we asked Felix, and he says that I was getting into ABS. Maybe it was because it was a bit slick out. But after a few more sessions, Ryan decided to just hop into the car and show me what the car could really do.
Oh yeah. There's a huge difference between the amount of brake that you're giving and the amount of brake that I'm giving, for sure.
Yep. You feel it's more?
You're definitely giving it more.
Okay. So I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So up here, a little later, good amount of brake, start let up, hop the hill, trail it into one, feed power.
Oh wow.
This is what you can do.
Hey Jason, if you're watching this, we're here. Hell
Just
yeah.
a second lay at the track.
Wow.
See? No.
Oh, you're at like the
Is that
200
better?
mark. Yeah, you're at like the 200 marker,
Oh
dude.
yeah. You notice how much brake you can get in this car?
Oh yeah.
No ABS.
Do you don't feel the pedal pushing back on you?
Not really, no.
No, okay. Oh wow. And the tires are singing.
Tires just letting us know we're there.
Okay, I'm getting to this later than you are. I mean it's night and day, like 1,000%. We're on different planets, Ryan. I think for me, I don't want to get the car to a point where I have to make a correction.
Right.
And I think that in my mind is slowing me down.
Yeah.
Because you're quicker to catch the car. You have a better sense of what's happening with the car than I do.
Right.
So I'm not trying to get to the point of having like that small little correction you just did.
Yep.
I'm too scared to get to that point right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, you see?
It's getting hot.
But you're catching it.
Oh yeah.
You can sense it happening. I've spun and gone off track here a bunch of times on the sim.
Yeah.
That's probably why it's one of my least favorite sections on the track.
Well,
Well-
Jason did it.
Yeah, well, I've never touched the inside wall. It's always going to the outside.
Oh, I gotcha.
But seeing how you want me to go through it makes much more sense. And I guess this goes back to, yeah, you can try to teach yourself, but if if you don't have anything to build off of, then how do you know you're even doing it right to begin with?
Exactly.
And clearly I was doing a bunch of stuff wrong. Even though I was getting decent times on the sim,
Right.
it's not translating to the car because it's just not a one-for-one between the sim and a real car.
So after going on my ride along with Ryan, and he showed me what the car can do, it was my turn to see if I could replicate even a fraction of it. And I'll be honest with you guys, I actually did feel a lot more comfortable knowing the limits of the car with a better driver in it. He showed me where the car can perform at its best, when he had to make corrections, brake zones, how much brake he could give it, how much throttle the car could handle in the middle of a turn. He showed me a ton of stuff while we went on that ride along. So it actually made it easier for me to know what I was doing and where my limit was and not the car's limit. Because that's one of the biggest things when it comes to driving a car in real life, is not just driving it based off of the inputs that you're giving it, but driving it based on how the car feels. And after Ryan showed me what the car is capable of and I was able to feel that, it was a night and day difference. I was getting passes way more than I was giving them. All right, guys, end of day, Sunday. What an awesome weekend, Ryan. A little bit of rain. We're in a little bit of it now. A little bit of wet, a little damp, as you said.
Little damp.
And we brought the car back. We're in one piece.
Yep.
And then I actually got a ride along. Well, Tim sat right seat as well.
Yep.
What do you think, man? With me only having sim experience, how much of that translate into tracking? What are your thoughts on it, man? Just let me know so far.
I mean, I'm still of the opinion that sim racing will get you about halfway there. You have a lot of inputs, you have a lot of sensations and things that you don't know what to do with in the very beginning. As we work through that, through the weekend, you know, it's more about having to drive the car by feel, not necessarily by you have to put in this much input or this much brake. It's about feeling the car, feeling the weight transfer. You cannot feel the weight transfer in a sim. Even with a motion rig, you cannot feel the weight transfer like you can out here.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it will prepare you somewhat for this event. I think you just have to feel it for yourself, and honestly, to get much better, it's going to require real seat time.
Oh, absolutely. So me, like I said at the beginning, I've done hundreds of laps here on the sim, but what I was doing in the sim versus what I was doing in the car were two different things.
Yep.
The sensory feedback that you get from the car, the self-preservation that kicks in once you feel a little bit of wiggle in the car.
Yeah.
There is a lot going on. So in my mind, like you said, sim racing is going to get you part of the way.
Yeah.
Seat time is going to get you there. But one thing that really stood out to me was I have some bad habits that I developed from my sim racing that you ended up catching. You guys will see it there on turn 13 through 14.
Yep.
I was keeping it in, and Ryan's like, no, open it up, open it up. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
So a big piece of this to me is having an instructor, having somebody there telling you, hey, you're doing this right, you're doing this wrong, correct here, you can give it more there. And you guys saw it in the side-by-side when my session, I went right into a session with Ryan. He really showed me what the car was capable of. So that to me was a big piece of it. Just having you in the right seat, just telling me, hey, give it more throttle here. You can give it more throttle. Give it more brake. Completely changed the game. If I would have went out there in the car by myself, Lord knows what would have happened. So I think I'm fortunate enough to have a team behind me where I have you, I have Tim, I have Felix, John, the whole crew is behind me giving me a little bit of input here and there. For those of you who may not have that luxury, you will likely get put in the car with an instructor you haven't met, an instructor who's driving a different car than you, different driving style. And what I got from today is take what you can from the instructors. As you progress, you'll have to culminate everything into something that works for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I really wanted you to drive with Tim as well, because he's going to offer a different perspective. He's going to see some mistakes that maybe I miss, and he may be able to correct some mistakes that I have had a challenge of getting you to correct. It sounds like that just a little bit of all of it happened
A little bit of
to
everything, yeah.
where you had sounds like a great session.
I did.
So
I mean, my last session with you, I
Yeah.
was already through the moon, and then Tim just gave me that little bit of extra. He basically forced me to close the gap.
Yes.
He gave me no option.
Yes.
So if you guys are in the Austin area and do come for the PCA runs,
Yep.
Ryan's an instructor. We got Tim, who's also an instructor for those groups,
Yep.
instructing for other organizations as well. Not to keep you too busy, because I want to hog you guys up for myself. But that's it for this video today, guys.
Yep.
Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously. Put your comments down below. If you already are a veteran in the game, let folks know in the comments how it went for you when you first started, so that when people see this, they can get some feedback as well. And as always, reach out to us on Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias. If you have questions, Felix is on it. He's
Yep.
answering comments. If you guys look at our previous videos, he's answering all the comments. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one, Ryan.
Sounds great.
Let's get out of the rain.
Thank you.